if you have a situation where you literally hate how you acted, like at the time of that situation happening, like for instance you did something wrong and you acted completely submissive, like, but in the unnatural and unhealthy way, because sometimes of course it's definitely not right to start attacking the person that's just stating that you have done something wrong and stuff like that. But if you know you have acted in general like in a bad way, you acted like a weak person, like a submissive person, even though you know it wasn't appropriate for the situation, then there is one thing which you can do, which you can use to avoid these types of situations, or at least to avoid that similar type of situation to unfold in the same way. And that is to write down the situation that happened to you, like the one when you know you have acted in a wrong way. It doesn't have to be that you acted submissively, it can be in the opposite way, like you literally were too aggressive even though you shouldn't have been and stuff like that. Just write that or explain that situation into your notepad or a paper or whatever. A blank paper can be enough, or you can do it on your device, it doesn't matter. And once you have explained that situation, then imagine what kind of thing you could have done that would have been right, that you would feel proud of, that would evoke proud emotions in you just for the sake how you have acted. Like, what is the way how you should have acted at the time that would be right? And write it down, explain it. You can write down several other possible like ways how you could have acted that would be right. And once you have done that, you will, just by doing so, you will technically like realize what you could have done that would be right in the first place. And once you have written it down, it will basically tell you like what you should have done for it to have been, or to have unfolded in the right direction. And it will evoke, or it will create like awareness. That's the first step which you need to arrive to, and that is to become aware of the mistake that you have done, aware of the possible outcomes that could have happened, like, but the good ones, or the possible ways how you could have acted in a good way. And so it will create awareness. And since we are already aware of the possible ways how we could have avoided doing a mistake and so on, we will know how to avoid it in the future. And so that is the first step. You will know that how you should have acted. You will basically know what's the right course of action if that same situation happened in the future. And so that's the awareness part. Then the next part is to be able to remember it, because if you just write it down and, I don't know, maybe even throw the paper into the trash, or you throw it somewhere else, you will forget about it. You will completely forget about all the possible ways how you could have acted that would have made like the right outcome. You will basically forget about it in general. And that's what we don't want, because otherwise this whole exercise would be pointless. And so we need to set up a way how to remember we need to set up a way how we will be able to remember what we have written down in the future. So when that situation occurs again, you will actually be able to remember or recall what you have written down on that day. And so to do that is to either every single morning just check your paper, read it once or twice. If it is a situation that really evoked, like maybe even caused PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, then it's something that's important, something that you need to treat and you can't neglect. And so when you have something like that, I think it's pretty easy to at least read about it every morning, so that you are prepared if any kind of similar situation would occur in the future. it's super simple to just read it every day in the morning, or at least every second day. Do it consistently, otherwise you won't remember what you have written down. Or another way is to constantly visualize it, and that's actually maybe even better, because it will create like the sense of it being more real than you just writing it down. And so when you would visualize that situation, instead of visualizing how it actually happened, visualize how you would want it to happen, how you would want it to unfold. And by doing so, whenever any kind of, and you have to visualize it consistently, of course, you can do it at least once a week to keep your brain like refreshed, to keep your brain on point, so that it will remember like the steps which you have planned out for yourself. And so whenever any kind of situation would occur that would be similar in any kind of way, or maybe even like the same completely altogether, then you will be fully prepared, because you have visualized it like 100 times already. And so it feels almost like a situation you have already gone through. Then there is like no reason to stress, to be overwhelmed, since you have already gone through that situation 100 times through your visualizations. And that's a powerful tool to use whenever you are about to do maybe something stressful. Like, in general, it doesn't have to be something that has already happened, but if you have a presentation coming up, or something that's very important and it can unfold in a very bad way, then you can prepare for it. Visualize it in like the completely detailed manner, so that you are prepared for everything, like literally everything. So actually when that situation eventually occurs, you will be fully prepared for it, because you have gone through it many times in your head already. Like, to say a few examples, like if you have a presentation coming up and it's actually something huge, like you actually have a microphone and stuff like that, then visualize it going correctly, visualize yourself being confident, speaking with precision, with great pronunciation and articulation and stuff like that. But then you can also visualize like the bad outcomes, all the possible bad things that can happen during your presentation, like your microphone dies, it stops working, and you have to improvise, or you forget something that you wanted to say. You are in that state of when you are unable to come up with what you want to say next, and that's the worst possible state that you definitely don't want to be in during a presentation. And so visualize it, actually visualize it happening, and that way you will create, and whilst you are visualizing the situation, create like ways how you can avoid it becoming disastrous. And so you will come up with strategies how you can solve that problem, and that way, if it would actually happen in the real world, you will be fully prepared for it. And I think this video would be super valuable for me if I were younger, if it was for my younger self. And if you are in that situation that something stressful is about to happen, or something stressful happened, and if it would or were to happen in the future again, you want to be prepared for it, then this tool is amazing. And just to easily or simply summarize it, is that either you can write down that situation, explain it on your paper, on your device, it doesn't matter where, and try to come up with ways how you would deal with that situation in the future, or how you would be prepared for it in the future, the ways how you would be able to deal with it. And you can also combine those two ways. That way it will actually become much stronger, or you can just do the second one, which I believe is actually better than the first one, and that's to visualize. So visualize that situation and visualize all the possible ways how you could deal with it. And that's, I think, all for this video. Hopefully it was valuable for you, and I don't know if you want to add something else, if you want to ask a question, you can comment it down below. And after that, if you want to learn something else, you can watch this video next.